It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and I want to thank my mate Paul and his lovely wife Michelle for sending me today's beer. They run the YouTube channel Rate My Beer. They're fantastic, lovely people. I was with them 2 weeks ago in Hackney in London. Well, depending on when I release this video, it's about 2 weeks I was with them in Hackney in London. We had such a good time, we really did. And Paul, when we got to the brewery, Paul turned up about 11 o'clock in the morning. I had to get a stupidly early train to get to London to make it on time. So I was there a couple of hours before that. But the first thing Paul did when he arrived was oh man, I got some great beers. He opened up his bag and he gave me these amazing. He gave me some fantastic beer. Some beer from, like, where was it? The Philippines. The Philippines of all places, like the San Miguel you see on the channel here. My head's gone blank. The San Miguel, the wheat beer from the Philippines, which is the original San Miguel from Spain. Everybody thinks San Miguel's a Spanish beer, but it's not. It's a Filipino brewery, which kind of adopted Spain as its maiden country. But anyway, we had some beers from Paul and Michelle, and this is one of them. It's called Rince Cochon. It's a Bier Rouge, so a red beer at 7.5% ABV. So the thumbnail, I've decided to call it Belgian Imperial Red Ale, which, well, it kind of is, isn't it? 330 milliliter bottle, red bottle cap. Let's get this beer out into a glass and see what we get. I was going to be a bit funny then and grab my spanner. I've been doing some plumbing out here in the conservatory, and I was like, let's get it out into a glass. See what we... No, that's not going to work, is it? There we go. Using my Italian Monte Cassino. It's a Trappist brewery. It was once one of the largest Trappist breweries in Italy, or one of the largest breweries in Italy before. I think they had a devastating fire, and they kind of like struggled after that. Based in the Italian mountains, this brewery, if you wanted to check them out. Let me hold the glass there so you can see the brewery. But I thought it would be the perfect glass for this beer. So we got a one finger, slightly pinky looking head. Lots of carbonation rising up the side of the glass. It looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Really, really, really good, like cherry red coloured beer. That's either going to be from fruit. It's either going to be from actual cherries or raspberry in the beer, but I'd be smelling it by now. The beer being this distance from my nose, I'd be smelling cherry by now, and I don't smell any cherry. So perhaps it's red malt. Perhaps they've used the red malt in the beer, which is probably kind of more understanding. And probably the reason why I called it Imperial Red Ale. A little bit of haze. Let's get the aroma. Oh, it is fruit. No, it's definitely fruit. It's definitely cherry. Interesting. Oh, that's tunes. Cherry tunes that you get from the pharmacist, or well, you used to get them at the pharmacist. I'm sure you can buy them anywhere now. Or cherry soothers, whole soothers, the cherry flavoured ones. You know, that kind of artificial cherry flavour. Well, that's in this beer. A little bit of honey as well. A little bit of a honey aroma coming through on this one. Smells really good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Sweet, sweet, sweet. That sweet, it's made my teeth, you know, that kind of like, that feel. I don't eat much sweet stuff in my life. I've kind of gone down the route of savoury. Crisps and snacks and that sort of thing is my daily diet. So I've moved myself away from sweetness. And when you do that, you can do it really in a kind of severe sort of way. So there's certain tribes in Africa that have never had sugar in their lives, and you offer them something sweet, and it actually burns their mouth. It's actually like they describe a burning sensation with sugar, with sweetness. And I'm almost at that point, if it wasn't for chocolate. I'm almost at that point where certain sweetnesses is almost like, whoa, it's almost like a little bit too much. But I think that serves as a really good point of reference for, I suppose, beers like this, because you can offer up your experience in, there's a lot of people in the world, the majority of people in the world now have sweet tooth. They have a sweet tooth. And there's probably a lot of people in the world who will take a sip from this and go, oh my goodness me, that's the best beer in the world. That is fantastic. But for me, like in savoury and bitter things, it's quite, I find it quite unpalatable. I find it almost like I'd have to go for like a 10-mile walk to walk the calories off in this beer. And I shouldn't be judging this beer in that sense, but I am. And so I understand Paul and Michelle, they went to a Belgian or a French cash and carry, and they seen a couple of beers that were on the shelves there, and this was one of them, and it was quite cheap, and the alcohol was quite high, and they picked a few of these up. I can imagine a lot of people liking this sort of thing, and I'm not going to stand here and judge and go, you shouldn't drink this beer. There's a lot of people out there who will stand here and drink this and love this beer. But I'm one of the rare few, unfortunately. I'm one of the rare few who I've sent my palate in a different direction. I don't like overly sweet things. I find it kind of like dominating. And that's what's happened here. The sweetness in the beer is dominating everything else that's going on with the beer. It's a kind of like a sort of like a lemonade-y, cherry tunes, Halls Soothers cherry flavour, kind of artificial, sickly, overly done thing. With a little bit of sweet honey there too. Nice mouthfeel, but they've used a lot of sugar to produce this beer. They've used a lot of they've leaned into this beer being so sweet for this beer. So my personal, I'm sure I've rated this, I'm sure I've reviewed this before, and I think I probably really liked this before. But for me now, I don't know, I'm going to say 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom, cheers.